Guys, I thought I'd start doing giveaways. So I'm going to do a giveaway at my 6,000th subscriber. So at 6,000, I have 3 business cards from Popple that I'm going to be giving away. Yay! There is I see so many people giving away baskets and stuff. I have to be in that. I have to get through that. I have to be a part. So my 6,000, 6,001, and 6,002 subscriber, these are for you. Business cards. You're going to put them on the back of your card or your phone or whatever you want to do with them. It's fine. Dear Papa, I'm giving this away because I bought this myself. I bought these and I'm giving them away. So 6,000, 6,001, and 6,002. Let's do it. I love you. Thank you guys so much. See you later. Bye. We're going to go over 3 things. I still have them. We're still not at 6,000. What is taking so long? All right, so don't forget, I still have these popples. They're amazing business cards. Again, you can put them on the back of your car, your phone, your wallet, wherever you want to put them. And when you touch them, they give more than just your phone number. It's more than just an Apple connection. It's like your business, your website. It comes up like as if it's a website kind of thing. And it really is an amazing thing to have. I have them. They're popples, and I have 3 of them, and I'm giving those away. And I'm also interviewing an amazing author today, Mr. Bob Root. And I absolutely love what he's done. He's taken a real life story, a real life thing, and made it into a teachable moment. And I want to thank him so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Yaya.
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So first of all, you said to me earlier, you said that you had how many grandchildren?
22 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. My wife and I have, between us, 6 kids.
Oh goodness. Wait a minute. So who had the most kids?
Well, of my children, you mean?
Yes.
Well, well, with marriages the way they are
Oh,
and families, everything grows exponentially.
yes, it does.
And so, in reality, I'm so proud of my family because we are America. My little family is America. It's not so little anymore. When I
No,
say when I say that, just about every racial group is in my family.
that's so
I
good.
have black nieces. I have Navajo Indian. I have Mexican, and I have Lebanese, and I
Wow.
have Korean, and what else? I'm not exactly sure, but we got a whole bunch of them and lots of grandkids. It's just wonderful.
You sound like your family could be related to my family. I'm not gonna lie, okay? Because the way this is going, I mean, I could tell you some stories, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from because in my family, we got okay. So the foundation of everything would be black. We got
Okay.
some black whites, some black Chinese, some black Puerto Ricans, some black Cubans, some
Yeah.
black Jews, some black everybody. Okay,
Okay.
it's like the whole United Nations in my
Yeah.
family too.
I'm part Jewish too.
There you go. Me too.
Yeah. There you go. I tend to be on the right, conservative, small town America, and
Hmm.
I have 2 brothers. I have actually 3 brothers, and one's moderate, and 2 are communists. Serious.
Wow.
And so we have some very interesting arguments, but
Yeah,
it's always civil and we all love each other.
that's it. That's
It's an
what
amazing
family's
thing.
for.
Yeah,
Agree to disagree is fine.
exactly. And
Agree to
exactly.
disagree, and we're good to go.
And
So
that is one of the bases of my book, by the way.
that's
That
what I was going to ask you. I mean, tell me about the book and how this, because you took your life situation
yes,
and something that you've encountered and you made it into a teachable moment. Is this a children's book?
this is a children's book, and I like to think it's a children's book for all adults
Okay, I
and
like
any
that.
child of any description.
Hmm.
It occurs to me, and occurred to me some time back, that people need to be taught, and sometimes people are not taught. I teach my kids at home, my grandchildren. I get to have them once a week, and I teach them reading, writing, arithmetic, and some good things
Hmm.
that everybody needs to have. So what I decided to do is write what I hope is a delightful story about Ashland and the townspeople and how people get confused about what to do with a serious problem. And
Hmm.
here you have a little itty bitty town with a little itty bitty park and a small duck pond that I think has a story for the world.
Mm.
Because when you look at all the issues, particularly um, homelessness,
Yeah.
the border issue, logging in the Northwest,
Hmm.
all of these things, just many, many, many things
Yeah.
that the government has messed up on. And let's face it, they do. And so, not to get too political, but so I wrote this. I go, my gosh, this is incredible. This
Hmm.
story can reach a lot of people because it's common sense.
Hmm.
And sometimes we just get out of common sense and from the government to individuals. And I'm a small town boy who was raised on farms, and I like common sense. It
Right.
just makes sense if that works.
Definitely, definitely. So, okay, so don't feed the ducks. Tell me, how did this come about?
Well, in Ashland, Oregon, where I used to live, used to take my children to the duck pond.
Hmm.
And the duck pond was beautiful, is beautiful. It was blue water, mossy rocks, just great.
Hmm.
A creek nearby. And one day I went down there and they had a sign up. Well, actually, what happened is it got so bad, there were so many ducks that you couldn't even walk on the sidewalks or the grass without so many ducks being around and duck poop everywhere. It was a mess and it was smelly and the pond was green with algae and
Oh
nasty
no. Oh,
and it was bad. And they had it was just terrible. I mean, well, they had vending machines there. For 2 bits you could feed the ducks a
hmm,
handful of food from the vending machine.
right.
And people were throwing all sorts of. I threw bread out there. All bread's fattening, by the way. It's not good for ducks.
No, it's not.
So what happened is one day there was a sign that says, "Don't feed the ducks. It makes them dependent." Now that was put up by the Forestry Service, the Department of Forestry, the federal one,
Mm-hmm.
and they had this policy where you could feed the ducks, but then they decided to put up a sign to not feed the ducks.
Okay.
Which I thought, when I saw that, I go, isn't that amazing? A governmental agency correcting itself.
Right.
Oh, what a thing. So I decided, well, why not write this down? So I spent a number of years just, how do I even approach the subject? Then it dawned on me, I could put my grandchildren in there. My three beautiful daughters are the youngest grandkids I have of the
Mm-hmm.
whole slew of them. And so I did.
Hmm.
And it's based on an actual story in Lithia Park in Ashland, Oregon.
Wow.
And I'm finding that by the way, I would you like to hear how I tested it? The idea in Orlando, Florida?
In Orlando, hold on. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, Orlando, which is one of my favorite places to go because I absolutely love Universal Studios. You must say. You must say.
Yeah, I thought so too. I was down there on business and I had to take an Uber. So I took this Uber across town. And while I was talking to the guy in the cab, I said, where are you from? He said, Venezuela. I asked two questions. Um, why are you here and are you here legally?
Mm,
And he laughed and he said, yeah, I am here legally.
mm-hmm,
And I said, so why did you come? He says, I came here to work. I said, why did you come here to work? And so we chit chatted about that. And then I began to kind of feel him out about my idea for this book
mm-hmm.
about not feeding the ducks and whatnot.
Right.
And as the conversation went, he said, you know, the reason I came here because I want to work. In Venezuela, the government is feeding the ducks. Everyone's poor and nobody gets anything that the government doesn't give them. I said,
Mm.
what? Venezuela is rich, oil rich. And
Yeah.
he says, not anymore. It should be, but they won't let you work. He says, you don't have the freedom. I said, you're kidding. And it's because they're feeding the ducks. He says, yes. I said, well, there you go. It caught on with that guy. He immediately got the idea, feeding the ducks.
Hmm.
We start feeding the ducks, pretty soon they become dependent. That becomes a very big problem,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Uh, and it's applicable to all sorts of things, from
Mm.
children and pets, wild animals, wild ducks.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that for a fact, if you teach a person to actually go ahead and provide for themselves. So even like a 1 year old, when they want something, don't just go get it for them. Make them go over to a certain
That's right.
spot and get it. Maybe it's, a treat or something or some kind of
Mhm.
a snack. You put it at the end of the table. And when they want it, they can go over and they can get it. If they
Yeah.
want a toy, they go over and they get it. Don't just go and get it for them, because then they'll never learn how to get it for themselves.
Well, in the book, I described that situation where the ducks just become overbearing. Some become mean. Some
Mm,
become, there's a dark side to the story too, a little bit. Some
mhm.
become druggy ducks. And the townspeople just can't figure out what in the world to do.
Wow.
And the kids come up with a common sense solution that is so simple, that is so amazingly simple,
Mhm.
that the townspeople will say, let's do it. And
Mm,
so this story challenges kids to think critically. Now, I'm
mhm,
a real believer in thinking. There's different types of thinking. And one of the best ones for solving problems is critical thinking.
mhm.
That's the what, when, where, why, hows, and whos of any subject, to
Right.
get a good picture of what's going on and then make a decision accordingly. And
Mhm.
sometimes those things get lost because people don't think of it. It never occurred to me, people will say, well, it's a simple thing to simply solve a problem by not doing what you're doing.
Right.
Just quit doing it. My daughter, when she was my oldest daughter, she was a young little girl, and she would take her arm and twist it like this. And she says, Papa, when I do that, it hurts. So I
Mm.
said, don't do that.
Exactly. Just
And
don't
so
do
that,
that. Yeah.
and that's part of the whole premise of the entire book. And it's getting some pretty good reviews and some good success going on, because I'm on a quest, Yaya. I want everybody in the world to understand to not feed ducks, alter their behavior, and don't feed them.
Mhm.
Let them grow natural. Let kids be natural.
Right.
Of course, you got to discipline them, but there are people that just feed the ducks and they become unruly, and you got a problem. And I don't. I want. I if there's something I can do. Now, by the way, I have to tell you this.
Mhm.
I'm a retired preacher,
Okay.
and and I did that for 15 years.
Mhm.
And also, one of the things I did, you think this is crazy. I was a horseshoer for 15 years as well.
Oh my gosh.
Worked on farms,
Mhm.
did stuff, saw things from the dirt up,
Mhm.
and it affects you the way you think in a good way. Now, I'm also very well educated. I was accepted to law school at
Mhm.
Gonzaga School of Law. And so I'm not afraid to work with my hands and not afraid to work with my mind. I
Right.
need to think. And sometimes the simplest of solutions is the way to go. We have a way of making things complex when they don't need to be.
Mhm. Yeah. Don't feed the ducks. It'll make them dependable.
Well, it'll make them totally and absolutely dependent. And
Yeah.
by the way, it is a funny story. It's a very funny story, very delightful. I was really surprised. I wrote my grandchildren in, and one of my granddaughters' name is Gracie,
Mhm.
and I was having a little bit of a struggle working her into the story, and I was reading it to her, and she says, "Grandpa, everybody calls me Gracie, and sometimes my family calls me Goose. In this story, can I be Grace?" I said, "You like Grace?" She says, "Yes, I do." I
Oh.
said, "Then Grace you are." So I wrote that into the story. So it turned out to be very charming and warm, the whole thing, and very direct
Mm-hmm.
in a very fun way. So
Wow.
that's the long and the short of it. And you know, if I were to put it in one sentence, uh, it would be basically in a world of contradiction where things are not what they seem. Sometimes we do things and they're just not what they seem. When the results are not what we expect because of unintended consequences. Where love destroys and toxic affirmation crosses natural borders, where good intentions are far away from reality and the natural order of things, it is high time to consider returning to the simple, common sense notions found in a children's book about ducks on the
Yeah.
pond.
Wow. And that's a wonderful way to put it. Definitely a wonderful way to put it. I like it. I think it's a lesson to be learned for everyone of all ages, definitely.
I
And
hope so.
I thank you so much for being on the show and for bringing this lesson to people. Don't feed the ducks; it will make them dependent.
It will.
Don't feed into. I mean, all of the things that people want to just take for
Mhm.
granted and get for free.
Well, I will say generosity is very much a part of it. We
Right,
need to be generous. We need to be giving. We need to be kind. We
but
need to do those things.
but
But then you can go too far
that's
and
right.
create dependence, and
Yeah.
you don't want that. And
No.
we all want to be dependent. And I will say one of the things that I think about a lot is humility. You know, humility. There's a great deal of power in humility. The
Yes.
power to, well, let's say the power of humility is the power to of acceptance, where people will accept you if you're humble. I mean, we are put off by people who are brash and overbearing. But
Mhm.
if one takes a simple approach to dealing with people, you can speak some wonderful things and they'll accept it.
Yeah.
And there's power in that. It's the still small voice. And by the way, this book is a biblical view of the
Mm,
world, that
nice.
there is a creator and
Mhm.
there is responsibility. And we have a huge responsibility as to be wise stewards of what we've been given.
Exactly.
Yeah? And so we don't want to mess it up.
No. No, we do not. I agree with you. Totally agree with you.
this
Yes.
book this book also gets into duck diets too.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, duck diets. And we don't want to destroy duck dignity either. Mm-mm.
No, we don't. Bread is fattening for ducks. We don't want to
That's
do that.
that's right.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Bob. I appreciate it so very much. How can people find this book?
It is on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. The publisher is Dorrance, and they're out of Philadelphia or out of yeah, they're at Pennsylvania, and they can be reached there. It's where it's anywhere where fine books are sold. Let's put it that way.
There you go. That's it.
It's easily accessible. And by the way, it just came out,
Nice.
and so I've got some other things cooking for this. I got some more books coming down the line. This is my first book I've published. I've written an awful lot,
Oh,
but
okay.
you know, as a preacher, you do that. Have a
Yeah.
way of doing that.
Yeah.
But my down home ways is always has to be a lesson someplace and fun. I mean, let's face it, I can't take myself too seriously. After all, uh, I mess with ducks and chickens and horses and goats.
Hey, life in the dirt. That's how it works.
That's right, exactly.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. Thank you for the lesson and the lessons to be learned. You know what hit me the most is what you said. You said there were drug ducks.
Druggy ducks
Yeah.
and
And
mean
that
ducks.
to me, that hits home. That
Yeah,
hits home. That's like, okay.
that's
Yeah,
true.
I can see that. I can see that the dependence would literally lead to that. And that
It
is something that people have to take care of and watch out for.
absolutely it alters personality. It makes them. Uh, some people are just become evil, rotten, mean, bad, nasty, and so do ducks. They get nasty,
Hmm.
and there's no real reason for it. I mean, we don't need to encourage it. And so, if we just really take it, have a clear understanding of how we are created. We're created to be free. We're created to be giving. We're created to be loving. But sometimes our love makes a mockery of love.
Yeah.
It enslaves. And by the way, sometimes we inflict ourselves and our thoughts on others. And we
Mm,
shouldn't do that.
exactly.
Let people be people. Kids got to be kids. And by the way, ducks got to be ducks.
Ducks gotta be ducks. I'm sorry. Yep. Get your ducks in a row, guys, because ducks gotta be ducks.
That's it. That's
Oh, goodness.
exactly right.
Well, thank you so much again, Bob, for being on the show. I appreciate it. I'm going to have the information for that book. Don't feed the ducks. That'll make them dependent. We don't want that. Okay.
No,
We got these little
exactly.
druggy ducks and mean ducks and all kinds of things going on here that we don't necessarily want or need. And so I think this book will be great for not only the children, but also the parents. Hello.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely. I want to thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And until next time, guys, bye.
Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you for watching.